This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. I am honestly always impressed by what the indie space continues to provide. It feels like a space to go to for new, innovative titles, while also being a space to find stuff that many of us are nostalgic for. Many different fan bases ask their respective developers and publishers to make new games in a certain style, or series, or even just remaster them to make those titles more easily available. I enjoy many modern first-person shooters, but there is something so special and honestly different about how old games did it back then. As such, seeing indie developers make retro shooters is a great way to get new experiences in a classic style. Something I hope to see more of are developers making PS1 style and honestly looking games. I grew up with this generation and I still play PS1 games today. So when two developers combined a retro shooter with dinosaurs, it really caught my eye, and it's honestly really fun. For players who like shooters and might be craving something that reminds them of Dino Crisis and a little bit of Turok, this might be one for you to check out. Dino Trauma is a first-person shooter with horror and Dino Crisis influences. Right from the start, it's really fun. The general pace of the game is moderate, as you can soak in each environment, and when you combine the lighting and look of the game, it puts you on edge, even if you are fully armed. While this is going to be in early access for a bit, I think it makes a pretty good first impression, and leaves the player interested on what these developers can do for the full game. Introductions are always important, especially for a video game. Now, some games have a slow build-up before it gets going, but it needs to provide that hook to get the player into the experience. Now, this could be a story element, gameplay, or something else. In the case of Dino Trauma, it's the gameplay. You hit start and are just dropped right into it. There is some tutorial-like stuff within the first level, but it is mostly just you wandering around trying to find the exit and survive. Again, I like the moderate pace, and in many ways it presents itself like a survival horror game. You feel vulnerable and don't know where these enemies are coming from. This results in a constant sense of tension that keeps you on edge, and will explode when you run into a dinosaur. This keeps you on your toes, enjoying some moments of action, and then it comes back down to that level of tension. I do want to note too is that I felt this way pretty much the entire game while playing it. Even when I had a few weapons and plenty of ammo, I was always on edge. Dino Trauma has a mix of elements and feel to its gameplay that is a bit odd but works pretty well here. So the way much of the levels present themselves is in a survival horror style. It's dark, dimly lit in some areas, along with a constant feeling of dread. Then you have the present fog that significantly impairs your vision when it appears. On the flip side, you have the weaponry and ammo that you would expect to see in a shooter, thus giving you that feeling of empowerment. But at the same time, you feel vulnerable because of the atmosphere. Again, this is hard to explain, but either way, I like it. Dino Trauma is a mix of exploration, some light puzzles, and lots of shooting. When it comes to the shooting, it feels pretty good. Gun sounds are decent with some nice chunky impact with you being able to blow up most dinosaurs. One thing I really liked about the weapons is how you can change their rate of fire, thus allowing the player to personalize how they use each weapon. You can change the pistol from being a single shot to fully automatic. The shotgun can be changed to allow you to fire off multiple shells at once. There's good weapon variety here too, from a pistol, shotgun, SMGs, a laser gun, and a few others. Levels provide a nice variety, and one element that many of them have is how they will circle back to points you have been to. It makes the spaces feel bigger and more intricate. The first level provides that snapshot for the entire experience, with the second being different, more narrow, and even introducing some swimming. Level 3 shows off the fog that I mentioned before to great effect, along with some traps to watch out for. Level 5 changes things up further with the introduction of turrets. These will attack enemies for you, but they will also attack you as well. The puzzles in this game are pretty good. In one level, you might need to create a line of pipe in a short period of time to the exit, or maybe you need to find a key code on the wall somewhere to open up a passage. It does feel like each level sort of has this "now this is our puzzle solving" moment to it, but so far I enjoyed them and they provided some more gameplay variety. Some levels might even have you scratching your head on where to go next, and I like this older school approach. The first level does a good job of introducing you to your tools and how some of the stuff works. Then it's all up to the player to figure it out. There are a few aha moments, like being able to find a power box to shoot to get through an area or something like that, and those are satisfying. I do go back and forth if a map is really needed. The levels are not that big, so maybe a map would make it too easy or a bit of an overkill. And I do like the satisfaction that comes from wandering about trying to find the best way to go. Expect that sometimes you might be stuck for a bit, but after a bit of exploration, you'll probably figure it out. Now when it comes to flaws, I do have a few. I do appreciate that the first level does have light tutorial moments to have the player learn some of the basics, but there are a few spots where I think it should have been a bit better to have the player just figure it out, rather than having them be told, like something like shooting the power box in the first level. This is a very important element to the gameplay for unlocking doors. I also did have a few odd frame rate dips at random times, and I think this probably just comes down to optimization as the game continues to get patched and worked on. The instant kill parts are kinda jarring. There are pathways that are blocked by steam. Usually when you come to these parts, you need to find a switch to hit so you can turn it off and pass. I thought if I got hit, this would only do some damage, but instead it just outright killed me. I think the difficulty needs a bit more balancing as well. The first half of the game feels pretty easy on normal, with it getting a bit harder towards the end. I know that I was on normal, but I think it needs to be a bit more tweaked, so it can be just a bit more challenging for this difficulty. I understand that the kick is probably best used for the boxes, but the hit detection with it is very hit and miss, and I just ended up shooting most of the boxes anyway. The kick needs some improvement. I did have 2 instances where an enemy was coming through the wall. Not really something that completely hurts the game, it's just something that comes across as a bit janky. But overall, Dino Trauma appears to be a gem of an early access title. Overall, I really like Dino Trauma, especially within its early access state. This is the first part of the process, to put their best foot forward, and show that there is something here that the devs have, and I can confidently say that I want to see more. This mixture of survival horror elements with the empower of shooting works well. I love the older look to the visuals. What I hope is that they're able to have this good process with the community, where they take feedback from the players and continue to better the game. I find that some of the better early access titles are the ones that have open communication with their community. As stated on the store page, it seems to be in early access for most of this year, with more content updates coming. This blend of retro shooters, Turok, Dino Crisis is pretty cool, and I think we need more shooters with dinosaurs in them. I wish the developers the very best of luck on finishing their game. And as a side note, I hope they add controller support in the future. And as of right now, I would recommend this title. Have you played Dino Trauma? If so, what are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments below. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.